Okay. You hear me? We'll get underway. Welcome again to our meeting. Tonight we're going to have Kolman's follow-up with the slides on humor. First, some of our announcements and a few other things here. Our upcoming meetings. Next Friday, July 22nd, is our first nature competition of the season. It will be a projection competition, so the submission deadline is usually the Wednesday before, and that's on the website.
It's 9 days before. It's not
The Wednesday, it is the Wednesday 9 days before. Check the website, right. The Wednesday before the Wednesday. It was last Wednesday. I hope you've entered some good shots.
Just so you know, photojournalism is the
Yes, photojournalism is.
The other ones are always okay.
Yes, that is on my first slide. I misspoke already. So, nature competition is coming up next week, and that deadline has passed for entering pictures. Then on July 29th, we have a Zoom presentation. Tim Gray, who's going to be talking about night photography. This is not astrophotography. This is all aspects of taking pictures of downtown at night, fairs, fireworks, just any of those type of things as well. And he is a very good speaker. I think you'll enjoy that. August 25th, Photojournalism Night, which is not an actual competition, but the entries, this is all digital, and the entries are the Wednesday 2 days before the competition. And even though it is not a competition with winners judged that night, those pictures will all be eligible for the end of the year photojournalism picture of the year. August 12th is a creative competition, which is still open, and the deadline for that is 11 or 12 days before. August 3rd, 9 days. Check our website calendar. It's on there correctly as well. So that's our creative competition. Upcoming field trips, July 16th, the Homestead Animal Sanctuary. There are a few spots left. I don't know if they're in the morning or the afternoon. Check on our site as well. But that's the Animal Sanctuary in Brecksville that deals solely in farm animals. Should be very interesting. Another field trip just added is our field trip August 7th to Lanterman's Mill in Youngstown and the Fellows Garden, which is nearby, which is a really huge botanical garden as well. But the Lanterman's Mill field trip has been very, very popular in the past. And again, details on our website. Items of interest that are not CPS sponsored, but you'll just find of interest out there. The Great Lakes Medieval Fair, recreation of the ancient medieval days. I have listed July 23rd and 24th. It also runs several weekends after that each weekend. A big event that hasn't been held in 2 years, the Hale Farm Civil War Reenactment. It is the biggest in the state of Ohio and is very, very well done. They're starting up this year again at Hale Farm. Conneaut D-Day reenactment, another reenactment that is extremely well done and free, done out in Conneaut of World War II and all the World War II, the D-Day landings, plane flyovers. That's August 19th and 20th. And August 27th, 28th, Great Trail Festival, which is a reenactment type of all things Americana. The good old days in America. Another thing coming up, August 13th through 15th, is Pixel Photo Fest. Now, Pixel Photo Fest is usually a 3-day event with classes. There are speakers, workshops, photo walks, trade show. They have loader demo equipment out that you could use. And for CPS members, they are running a special of $100 off. Usually it's $169 the price. It is only $69 for CPS members. I thought that was a very generous discount, and it's an excellent program, so that's something to consider. and you can find more information on their website at Pixel Connection. The field trip photo gallery is up and running. We have field trip pictures being posted from several of the field trips now. It's on the gallery page of our web page. It is not a contest. You just put your pictures up. Gives us all a chance to see what we missed and whatnot on there, or what views we could have looked at. And in that regard, images from previous field trips could also be put up. If you went to the Tall Ships 2 years ago and have pictures from there, you could put it up on this Tall Ships one, because it's nice for the people who are on the field trip just to see, in general, other views of the same objects that we're looking at. If any time we get more than 25 images for a particular field trip, we send those out to our remote judges, and we pick a best in show there, kind of, which we put on the back wall. And tonight we'll have our winners from the Mansfield. But even if you just have one picture you like or whatnot, just put it up in our upload link, which is found, again, on our gallery page. Fundamentals of Good Photography, the virtual summer sessions, are still going on. You could join that at any time, since it is all virtual and no classes. Gives you a way to kind of jumpstart your learning for over the summer without having to attend classes. And the hands-on material you could do for free at any of the follow-up sessions in the fall, winter, or so on. Of course, this and all of our meetings are on our YouTube channel. You'll be able just to click on our website. There's a link right to the YouTube channel to watch any of these Friday night events here, except if it's a Zoom speaker. Those are for members only. We'll eventually be having that up on our new website. Now, Mansfield Reformatory. We had a number of people submit pictures just to put them up on the gallery. We sent it out to the judges from Photographic Society of America, who basically said about all of the entries, there are so many wonderful images here that it's been very difficult to pick the winners. Many caught my eye. All of you should be proud of your work. I like the way many of you handle the light and shadows and peeling paint. And of the images, here are some of our winners. Honorable mention, Window Light, Jill Sestak. The judges said, I like the play of light in this image with the light on the wall and the light on the floor. I think it could have been cropped a very little bit on both the top and bottom. Honorable mention, again, This Way Out by Debbie Liskey. The judges said, I like that this was done in black and white. The textures on the wall add interest to me, and I like the patterns of the stairs. I would like to see a little more contrast. Maybe try lightening the shadow. Third place, Mansfield Reformatory, Photographer Unknown. Now, if in a regular competition at CPS you do not put your name on it, it's thrown out, it's disqualified. This is a very easygoing thing. We have the title. Photographer didn't put his name. It doesn't matter. For this, congratulations. So for Mansfield Reformatory, the judges said, I like the use of light in this image. To me, the depth of field is well done. Maybe try cropping in on the right and crop a little off the top. Second place, The Long Shadow of Prison by Bob Kowaleski. Judges said, I like the use of light in this image. To me, the depth of field is well done. Maybe try cropping a little to the right and making it more of a panorama format. At first I thought I was reading the same exact comment, but no, that was that one. And our winner, first place, A Row of Lacquer by Debbie Liskey. Judges said, I like the depth of field that was used in this image. It is sharp front to back. I like the shadows. The open cell doors help to tell the story. The textures give me a feeling of old. I am pulled into the image and like looking around it. So congratulations to all our winners. We will print that up and have it on our back wall. Again, this is not part of our competition season. This is just informal. Upload your field trip pictures anywhere along the line. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring up Kolman here, Rosenberg, who is going to go over the images from the section on humor. Coleman.
All right. Thanks, Richard. How many of you were here when a month ago when I did the original presentation? Okay, so there's probably no need to do the whole thing again. And has anybody brought in images that haven't brought them up front? No? Okay, so we don't have too many. Let me move up here. So these are mics. So, Mike, you want to? You want a mic? Mike?
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I picked out actually 13 images because I couldn't narrow it down. Some of them, they sort of follow a theme. This one, the first couple are what I would call sort of photojournalistic images. This one I happened to take, we were on a cruise with the family, and just the position of the people taking the selfie with the eye kind of staring out at them. I happened to be in the right place at the right time, so I thought there was some humor just in the situation. Like this lady that was on a poster was just kind of watching over these ladies taking that selfie. So this one, take a close look at it. Check out the sign. Now, this was taken in Jamaica, okay?
Wow.
And it's like, what? And not only was it taken in Jamaica, but, protect your tings. You can almost hear the Jamaican accent in the background. So I got a kick out of that one. All right. This one we actually did for the Flickr challenge, when we had the Flickr challenge. I think I called this breakfast Zoom meeting, okay? And so what I did is I took pictures of different things that would be at a Zoom meeting, and I was the hungry Zoom host. So I had some fun with this. This was a Photoshop thing. Took a bunch of little pictures and a picture of a Zoom screen, and then just kind of Photoshopped everything in together. So.
But you've muted all the food.
I like that.
Yeah, I muted all the food because food doesn't talk, I don't want food talking back at me, so I muted them all. Okay. The next couple are kind of animal pictures, if you will. This was taken on that same cruise, I think, and that's my grandson, and he bought this weird hat, and I had to take a picture of him being attacked by this fish hat. So, okay. Another animal picture. This was obviously taken at Halloween at my daughter's house. One of their neighbors came over with this big dinosaur costume, and the dinosaur was going for the candy. So. I've got a couple that deal with the Elf on the Shelf, okay? I think I submitted this for one of the competitions. I called it Elf on the Shelf Has a Drinking Problem. Again, with my grandkids, we always had the Elf on the Shelf out, so I thought, I'll put them around a bottle and see what it looks like, so. All right, and then the next one, that's actually my ex-son-in-law. He was the assistant principal at a grade school around here, and around Christmas time they had him dress up as an elf on the shelf, and he's kind of a character to start out with, so I got a picture of him in his huge elf on the shelf costume. And then these are three of my grandkids. The two on the left are twins, and they had these goofy Halloween masks on, and I thought they looked kind of funny. All right, then the next couple are sort of animal pictures. This one I took, I don't remember where exactly, but if you look at the mouse, the little statue of the mouse, it looks like he's kind of ready to fight, putting up his Dukes to duke it out with the cat. And the cat looks like, you got to be kidding me, you know. Another one, this was at the zoo. I call that, you looking at me? So you get the little, what are those things called? Not mongoose.
Meerkat.
Meerkat, yeah, the meerkat. And the little girl staring at it, and the meerkat kind of staring back. And that was the thought, you know, that you looking at me quote. That's my daughter's dog, okay. Little tiny, I don't know what kind of dog it is, but they always kind of play around with it and dress it up. So it's a boy dog. I don't know why they have a tiara and a dress on them, but they do that. So, and then they love the dog. I mean, the next picture will show that's my daughter carrying the dog with her, and this happens all the time. She's carrying it around. Almost looks like a two-headed person. So. All right, and then the last one, we were on a cruise down in Alaska, up in Alaska, and we were at Sitka, and my daughter is terrified of whales. I mean, she was nervous about going out. We actually went on a whale watch. She was very, very nervous about it. So we were walking along Sitka, and they have this park there, and there's a picture of there's a whale there. So I said, well, you know, let's play this up, pretend like he's chasing you and you're scared. And so she kind of went along with it. And when I got home, I did some Photoshop work, and I got this picture. Okay. So I sent it to her the other day and said, I hope this doesn't freak you out. But and she got a real kick out of it. So. And those are my pictures. They didn't quite come up to the standards of the pictures that you had shown, because those were fantastic. I've seen the one guy before that does the things with the baby in danger, and those crack me up. All right, so I guess I'm the only. Did anybody else bring pictures?
I have some too.
Oh, good. I was hoping I wasn't the only one.
Almost. Wow, is that many? There we go. Okay. Is that the first one? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think when I didn't have time to really work on any new ones between last month and this month, but I went back in and found some more funny ones that I've had from the past. And they weren't as funny as the ones I had in the presentation last month either, but they're still, I found them somewhat funny. So this was actually, I was with a group. I used to work at one of the Dodd stores, and every summer we'd go out one night every summer on a photo shoot all together. And this one year we went to downtown Willoughby, and we were wandering around. It was really hot night, so we stopped in a couple of the bars, different times for a little liquid refreshment. And I just happened to notice that my lens cap fit almost perfectly on this glass of beer. So, just happened to notice. This was one of a series of shots I took. Actually, this was on one of our field trips with the club on the holiday. It wasn't the tall ship trip, but it was just a night on the Cuyahoga River and lakefront. And as we were cruising along the lakefront, I happened to notice that the moon was going to be lined up with the top of this old smokestack. And I have actually a series of them, but this was the one that I thought looked the funniest. Almost looks like it's blowing a bubble of bubble gum or something. And here's another one that I set up with my little wooden figures, with him looking like he's directing the chess pieces, like he's the commander of an army or something along those lines. I don't play chess. Somebody told me I had the king and the queen reversed on one side or the other. I don't know, but somebody picked that out. This one I always thought was funny. This was years ago, that used to be this Kelly Miller circus that used to do these 1 and 2 day circuses in all little towns around the area. And I decided to photograph them setting up one morning, and I arrived bright and early, right about the same time they arrived, and it was kind of an amazing thing to watch them set up a whole circus in about 2 hours' time. But they used the elephant to help set up the tent, and I just found this scene funny. It looked like they were having a conversation, the guy and the elephant.
It's like the elephant's laughing.
Yeah. Right. And this is actually manipulated a little bit, but this was from the Pike Place Fish Market out in Seattle, Washington, and I did this manipulation, and I call this my fisheye photo. This one I just happened to capture at Manor Headlands Beach a couple years ago, and a lot of good pictures of the guy kite surfing, but this one was the one that was sort of funny. Here it's the sign, and I converted this to black and white, but then kept the sign in red just to kind of emphasize it. It's another, just happened to see this on the street in Chagrin Falls, and what were the chances of a blonde lady be standing in front of that sign?
So the dog is even drinking the coffee.
Yeah, yeah. This was one I did put together as a fake, I don't know, there's a few of us in here who might remember the Saturday Evening Post, which was a magazine, popular magazine back when I was much younger. And the vintage baseball player, I think this was actually from the Mansfield Reformatory. One of our trips there, when we came out and we were done, there was a minor vintage baseball game going on right there inside the prison compound, and I took the picture. But I put the magazine cover together using that photo, and then really the only two funny things are the two comments on the bottom right. Indians preparing for another championship season, and the Yankees can't afford top players. Speaking of baseball, my grandson, my youngest grandson, was playing, what do they call it? T-ball, yeah, hitting off the tee. These were really, I don't know, he was maybe 4 years old at the time. And I just got such a kick out of it because the kids who were in the field, the last thing on their mind was the game. They were doing this kind of stuff. They were drawing stuff in the dirt. The next picture is another little girl doing the same thing. And that was while the game was going on. There was batter batting, but their attention wasn't on the game. And this was a minor league baseball game, the Lake County Captains, and they let all the kids go on the field and run the bases. And before they actually did that, the instructions to the kids were, make sure you touch every base. And this kid took it pretty literally. This one I always thought was funny. This was just in one of the parks, local parks, and I keep thinking of this, hey, you're going the wrong way. Okay, those are mine.
Great. And,
All right.
okay. And
So.
well, since it's still early, we didn't know how many pictures we'd get. What I'm going to do is I have a little PowerPoint that I'm, for people at home to hear, sorry. Since we're finishing up a little bit early, I have a PowerPoint that I just want to show. I'll explain what it is here. Let me bring this up. And
While Richard's setting that up, you know, Kolman, you do a nice job setting these things up, and I really do encourage people to, you know, imitate or, you know, come up with something that pictures that go along with whatever topic you've done, because I know we've done these in the past, and we've had some really nice pictures that came from it. So if you get a chance, you know, try and do that.
yeah, it's a great exercise trying to, in the past, Kolman has done some where this was humor, but we've done other types of genres of photography and whatnot, and it sometimes is a challenge, and we've had some really interesting results shooting in particular styles like in the 50s or different looks and whatnot too. So it just makes you look at things a bit better. So we appreciate it, Kolman. I wanted to, this was a little something I had put together a while ago, because if you notice our items of interest, over the summertime, we have a lot of reenactments coming up. And this is not just Civil War reenactments. It's the D-Day reenactments. It's the medieval fair, which is a reenactment. It's the old Americana things. And most people, I mean, there are bird shooters that will only shoot birds. They will never shoot a person. I understand that. There are landscape shooters that will shoot but others are kind of just mixed. But a lot of people won't. One of the reasons that people don't shoot other people or candidates or whatnot is because street photography makes you very, very self-conscious. You're out there, it's hard, whatnot, you know, people give you a hard time. But that's why a reenactment is great, because you could do street photography, and these are people who dressed up and want to have their picture taken. So you, in a sense, can go out there, and no one is going to be offended by having their picture taken. In fact, they like that. And there are other things around just as well, not just the standard close-up of the soldier or whatnot. As we go through, there are other things, too, there to satisfy a lot of people. So these reenactments, which are going on, as we saw, all over the state here, over the summertime, it's a great place just to take your camera out and, you know, and just give it a try. So these are just a few little pointers and examples with the summer months coming up. The first is lighting is key. And when I say that, the sun is not always your friend. In fact, a sunny day, we always say, okay, great, this is a good day for a reenactment, you know, it's going to be nice and sunny. Well, that's not always the greatest, because people, when the sun is lighting their face, you get the harsh shadows, you know, you get shadows around the eyes, the lighting is poor. And it's a challenge, though. You could shoot people in the shade, and other times they're just in the bright sun. But the sun is not always ideal. In fact, if you wake up and it's a rainy day, that's even better, because everyone has pictures of, you know, in the reenactments of whatnot, where the nice sun and nice weather, but the clouds, the rain, your camera will take it. You won't, you'll be miserable, but your camera certainly is not a worry and whatnot as well. So cloudy days, rainy days, makes no difference. Sun is not always the best thing to have. And again, don't worry about the weather. Choice of lenses. The only thing really you don't need is a wide-angle lens, a really wide-angle lens. But the other way, usually a 70 to 200 covers most of the things you want. if you're a normal distance away from someone, or you want to get like a tabloid scene of just a number of things going on, you can just step back and a 70 will work fine. You know, a 50 millimeter, excellent, that type of thing. But do not, if you have a telephoto, a 600, a 500, things too, don't not bring that, because this is a reenactment. I've seen other people do that. I started a year ago bringing a 500 millimeter fixed lens to these as well. And you'd be amazed what kind of shots you can get, because some of the things that are going on, if there's an interesting person working out over, you know, a little bit farther away from you, you could be standing 30 yards away and get a beautiful headshot of that. So telephotos are not out of the picture. The only thing, like I said, a 16, 24 millimeter, you don't really need those. And don't forget, when I say tabloids, I'm talking about not just the standard picture of the soldier or the person or whatnot. As we'll see, just some general scenes, them all around the fireplace, just a group shot, objects that are sitting around rather than people. And if you have multiple lenses and one body, you know, which is what I do and some people do too, rather than taking on and off, well, I got my telephoto lens and put this one, the reenactment lasts for hours. And usually nothing different is, it's an ongoing thing too. And one of the things that actually helps is making several passes. I'll take my 70 to 200 and just make a walk through the whole thing. Then I'll put a 24 to 70 on and take a walk through. And I could get little different shots then with a little bit wider lens too. So rather than changing on and off all the time, you could make several run-throughs. And don't forget the kids. Kids loved reenactments. They like to dress up and whatnot. And all these reenactments you go to, whether it's the D-Day one or the Civil War one, you'll see lots of kids dressed up as well. And you don't have to feel creepy taking a picture of the little kids, because again, they're part of the show. They're part of the reenactment. This is what it's for. And you can get some really kind of cute shots as a way that if you were out on the street or whatnot, you'd be much just more self-conscious and wouldn't want to do that. Look for character. The wizened old guy, the wrinklier the better, except, as you'll see the judges say, I've seen a million wrinkly old guys and whatnot too, so, you know, get a picture that you like, but always looking for character is good. Try different points of view, not political points of view, but the old, get down, you have a kid, get down at the kid's level. Try shooting up at certain things. That makes a big difference. We'll see some of that. And be aware of your background. Background is your biggest enemy at the reenactments. And the reason I say that is there is nothing that ruins a good picture of someone in a perfect good Civil War, Revolutionary War dress than a car in back of him, or a porta potty and whatnot. But that's what's all around reenactments. And so this is where depth of field comes in. You use it narrow sometimes, angle around so that porta potty isn't in the background. And sometimes it's very difficult. And other people as well, someone in a Hawaiian shirt standing right in back of your guy that you want to take a picture of. So it is a challenge, but that's what makes it fun. These things go on all day, and you can just walk around and try to find something. Shallow depth of field is critical at times to get rid of the porta potty in the background and whatnot, but watch the eyes. When you're close up with someone or taking a portrait, your depth of field is so narrow that one eye, if you don't focus on the eye and get the nose, the eyes could be out of focus. So focus is really key. And consider looking up in your book auto ISO, since with candids, unlike the landscapes or whatnot, you don't get a second chance sometimes. If someone just really looks cute and you want to get that shot, you don't have sometimes time to set this or set the ISO or the clouds are. With auto ISO, which you really don't care kind of what that is, it's kind of taking care of that for you in the background so you could always get your shot. And post-processing, sensor dust, cropping, special effects that we'll show you too are important. But these are just some of the typical types of shot. And this, since I was doing a talk and it was about Civil War reenactments, you'll see mostly Civil War shots here too. But again, this applies to all the other reenactments, the medieval fair, the D-Day, those type of things as well. But again, the background here, white tent, you'll learn a lot about spot metering. A lot of the Civil War things are against the white tent, which will just blow things out. But again, a nice close-up shot. Wizened is good. I like that. It's just in my pictures. You could tight crop. Again, there's no, just experiment with all of these type of things. This is that tabloid again. Rather than concentrating on just the close-up of the soldiers or whatnot. Here's a case. You have the girl pulling the boy, and she's dressed in that old kind of costume. Again, very difficult. They happen to be going through a point where there were no things identified as modern around them, too. So just kind of grab that shot there. Objects. There was an old guy there who had been in the number of these coins he had from 1851 and whatnot had been in his family for just generations, and he was showing me them as well. It makes for a good close-up shot. Again, these, taking it back, a little sepia, black and white, make it a little sepia, make it look old time when they were there, the tabloid, nothing really modern around there. You'll get some interesting shots. Again, another type of tabloid, so you're not always centering, just trying to get the wizened old guy. Cute kid, like the bird on the stick for the nature photographers. Again, but dressed in the old-time outfit, or at least older than today. But he was just up on this stone thing, walking along too, again with the flowers, nothing modern in the background. Another girl, I just liked the way she looked, the character of it. Again, notice I'm down at her level. Key, all you have to do is just take a knee. Just one knee down onto, and the angle makes a big difference. Think of all the dog pictures you've seen. Dogs are always taken, a lot of looking down at the dog too. And they always look kind of like artificial. That's our point of view. You get down at their level. Again, when I said don't forget the kids, it's not just the soldiers. A lot of these kids are part of the show. They like to dress up in the old things. Again, I forget, this was a porta potty back here. Depth of field, using purposely a small depth of field so that you blur some things in the background that could be modern looking. Again, nice old outfit. I just like that pose. Too bad about the lighter. That's a little 20th century there as well, unless it's a Civil War lighter. But again, a lot of character. Again, the kids. Just this kid was being pulled around. This was with the 500 millimeter. So at times you don't have to, things that are going on over there, even if it's not that far away, if it's going by, if you have one of these long telephoto lenses, you get shots like this. So all I'm saying is don't rule out taking a big telephoto to a reenactment. They all work. Another kid, notice depth of field, particularly shot at 2.8. There was someone here just sitting who was dressed in a modern outfit too. But with this, again, that's blurred enough so that it really, you can't tell. It doesn't take away from the picture. Angle, get down. I was laying on the ground to take this picture. It's easier just to take it from up above, but again, you'll just get sometimes different points of view. Again, kids and angle of view. Just got down on the knee for this too, so you're at her level. Blurring the background. She's reading an old Harper's Weekly. Another one. Now this one I had to move quite a bit. On the left, around her, down at this end, there were other people in cars. There were porta potties here. And I had to go just the right angle to get her, so there was nothing modern in the back. One of the unique things about reenactments, you're constantly trying to position yourself to avoid having 20th century things or 21st century things in the background. Part of the challenge. Again, some of these close-ups, they don't have to be candid. Sometimes they'll look right at you. That'll make an interesting shot. You can post-processing, not only sepia, the old whitened borders that came in the old pictures. They didn't make them like this, but sometimes just the fixer that they used faded over time and gave this. But you could make a shot that looked just ordinary in color into something like this, one of these tabloid shots. Another, just dressed in the usual outfit, a seamstress, just getting in close up there. The old gentleman with the old pipe. You'll find sometimes, and this is a matter of personal taste, if you ever notice, if you're shooting out in the woods, this picture, people will tell you has a green cast. It does because the light is reflecting off all the trees. It's middle of the summer, there are green trees all over, and so the light with someone standing in the shade like that is a little greenish. A lot of times that gives a nice effect too, and I'll leave it like that. Other times you could color correct and take the greenish tinge off his face. It's just a matter of what you like. Here was again an example of depth of field. Purposely, there was a hedge in back of him with a lot of sharp leaves I thought would take away from the picture, using a wide open lens, and you just give it almost like a textured backdrop there as well. But again, down at their level, the young kids don't mind this at all. Another tabloid shot, made a little more interesting. You notice these were all summer, but now we're into fall. Well, that's summer. That's just Photoshop changing the hue of the green to a fall leaves. So this is the same, this is green leaves, but changing again the hue in Photoshop, of the leaves, it changed and makes it look like fall. This girl is very interesting. In the 6 years I've been going to reenactments, she's at every single one of them. This is something I think she enjoys. I know nothing about her, but I've taken her picture on several of them. She dresses up in the old period costume. Again, experimenting, not only with the sepia, the old borders that they used to use, a level, getting down, looking at, remember, the eyes are above me here. I've gotten down on a knee and I'm close to them. Looking up makes it a little more interesting. The old woman, have to be very careful. I almost blew it, and still this is not optimal. You notice that eye is not in focus. This eye was barely in. I was close enough, my focus was off. I managed to get a little bit of this eye in, and that eye was blurred. That's how small your depth of field is when you're close in taking some of these pictures. Objects again. This Canon, just sitting there with the fence and the tent, nothing modern around it, was just interesting, looking from a lower point of view. And again, this is middle of summer, but making it look like fall. So you look at your pictures sometimes as just raw material. You go, you get interesting stuff, and you play around with it, see what you get. Now, here's an interesting shot. These two were posing. It was a little wedding there up at Hale Farm. But what's wrong with this picture? It's very interesting. And what's wrong with this picture is not anything you think of, all your composition things and whatnot. The eye and the mind, not the eye. The mind does a trick on us. This picture looks okay. It's okay, but our brain is telling us there's something wrong. And the reason is because we recognize that with our brain as being Civil War, 1860s, things like that. But we've never seen a color picture of the Civil War. So we look at that, and it's kind of strange. We don't know why, and it looks okay. Well, just take that down to same picture now, made black and white, a little sepia with the border around, and now, ooh, that's interesting. It looks like you found an old picture from way back when and whatnot, and they look like they're hundreds of years ago. The other one is just kind of, and what I thought that was interesting, the other one might have been technically fine, but really did nothing for me. It just was, eh. You know, and this one was interesting, but again, the mind, and with a lot of these reenactment kind of things, you could do that in post-processing. The tabloid thing, getting down low so you get a little different angle, got them together, a little edge of I think that was a car there, but you can't really tell. But again, trying to avoid that. Thrilled. Old. Other things is when you go down, not just to concentrate. He might have had an interesting face, but I liked his pen, the old writing, these type of things. Focusing on hands, other things other than just the people dressed up in costume. There is a lot to take pictures of. Pictures like this. This was window light, a little challenging. He's in a log cabin. Light was coming in from the window. But when I talk about just raw material, there are pictures in the pictures. This was a nice picture, but is there another picture there? You could crop it, so you just have a close-up. Whatever interests you. But the fun thing about shooting these reenactments, it's a challenge. You get out there, you get a lot of stuff, but then you could play with it at home, either making it, into sepia, cropping different, looking for all kinds of things. It's another close-up. Angle. Here I got way down on the ground to shoot up with them. And what might have been just a normal scene otherwise, coming from down low, a little black and white and sepia just gives it a little extra. Here was the same, getting down low. A row of soldiers might just look like any other row of soldiers. But you get down and shoot them from an angle going across, not just straight in front of them and whatnot. And you'll find some interesting views like that. Here's another summer made into fall picture. Again, just trying to keep things modern out of the picture. And another thing to think about is at these reenactments, there are other, not just the people fighting the war. There are the other ones, the blacksmiths, the seamstresses. Here in a little corner off to the side of Hale Farm was the blacksmith shop. The blacksmith was working away in there. I really like this shot of him just being illuminated by the window light there. So you'll find these kind of opportunities too. So there is just another little tabloid scene. And all this white you see in these are the tents. Again, challenging lighting things, but with spot metering and whatnot, usually it's no problem. Different angles. Trying to get down to get this over. It was just an ordinary shot, one of the drummers there, but getting down low, so just his head was coming over. Here is a case. This was at Middle Ohio Civil War reenactment. It was in the middle of a field that was surrounded by cars on all 360 degrees. No matter where you stood, there was going to be a parking lot in the distance. And these are all ends of cars here. These are cars out there too. But using an extreme narrow depth of field, you were able to blur those out. At an f5.6 or f8, you'd see clearly that those were cars and it just wouldn't have the same effect. So those are sometimes the challenging things, but just with your technique, you can wind up getting some good shots. Ulysses Grant, not the original, but notice here again how small. Now I focus on the correct eye, the one that's closest to you when they're at an angle, but notice how fast that depth of field change where the other eye is out. So you have to be right on with your depth of field to get right on the eye that's closest to you. Same thing here, where is it a little bit of an angle. There are a lot of women that participate in these now, just as there were during the Civil War. You get some interesting shots there. There were people in modern dress there, but you could see the short depth of field gets them so they're blurred, so you can't even tell that they're people, and makes the shot doable. Same thing, parking lot in the background, blurred out by the depth of field. And this is one again. They are out shooting the cannons. When they do the cannons, which is really impressive, they don't let you nearby. So you're a good distance away. But if you have a big telephoto, you can get a close-up shot like this from farther back where everyone has to stand when the cannons are going off. So my point of that is, if you have it, don't think, oh, I'm going to shoot people. I'll leave my 500 or 600 at home. Bring it all. It's just an old person again. Again, you can get some tremendous shots. This young girl again, dressed up in the older time dress. I just thought there was a tremendous amount of just character in her face, and I really just love this, what she was looking down at. So you can get this, and my plea for reenactments, and why I'm doing this little thing too, is because give it a thought. These things are all-day events. They're fun just to go to anyway, especially the D-Day one. And there's all types of photo opportunities where you don't have to worry about being self-conscious taking the picture, because these people, love it. So remember, just have fun, because if the pictures don't come out, it doesn't matter. There's always another reenactment there. So that's a bit there. Any questions about that?
I have
have one other comment.
Yeah.
I found shooting these kinds of things too, one of the best tips I can give anybody is to wait sometimes. You know, sometimes we'll see a subject that looks good and there'll be something behind them that we don't want, or they look like they will be interesting in a few minutes. Wait it out. Don't just walk away if things aren't good. I've stood and, waited 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes sometimes for a shot that looked like there was potential to come along, and
Yes.
usually eventually it does. So
Yes.
don't be in a hurry.
Yes, Coleman is right, and that is, I've done that many times too, where you just, that person would really make an interesting one, but he's talking to someone else, the light's not right, you just hang around, and I've stood forever. And some of the good street photographers, there's this one I was talking before, Dina Latovsky out of New York City. She does these beautiful street shots, but what she does is she shoots at night. This is night street photography, but she'll find something where the lighting is perfect. There's a street light here that makes beautiful light, and there's a store with these neon things there too, and she will wait an hour or two for the right person to walk into that scene to make it. So in other words, it's not, oh, there's an interesting person. It's sometimes you get the situation is good and you wait for the person to come along. Or in this case, you wait for, if you find something interesting, you just wait there, 20 minutes or something, or come back to it too. It pays off a lot of times. Since again, these are ongoing things that are lasting all day. So it's just a fun thing to do. It's another photo opportunity. It's easy because it's not only a photographic rich environment, it's that, again, there's no self-consciousness. It's a way of trying to take some people pictures where these people actually enjoy you taking their pictures. So that's my talk.
Is
Yes.
your 500 millimeter lens a fixed focal length, or is it a zoom lens?
Yes, it is a fixed focal length, and that is actually a problem as well. But this is shows you everything in photography is a trade-off. There is a 2 to 500 that I looked at, which is ideal. It gives you the 500 millimeters, but it is heavy, as a 2 to 500 is, and that is even with vibration reduction or image stabilization, that is hard to hold. There was a 500 fixed made that is made a special way to be handheld. It's a Fresnel lens and other things I don't understand, but it's lightweight and you can easily hand hold it. So that's your advantage. But very often, as Mike points out, I get the thing and I'm too close or I can't zoom. So a lot of times there's nothing I could do other than run back 20 feet, and even that doesn't help. So obviously a zoom is ideal, and I only have the fixed because it's one I could handheld and works well that way.
One other thing, another event that you didn't have on your list, but I think it's a great event for people wanting to be photographed, is the Twinsburg Twin Festival. I don't know when that is. I think it's I'm guessing in August sometime. I went a couple years ago, and it's amazing.
I forgot all about
twins
that.
and the triplets and everything, and they just love you taking their picture.
Yep.
So.
And that's the reason a lot of them come out there. So for some of these events, like the Twins Festival and whatnot, where people go to be seen, is sometimes a great way, if you'd like to try your hand a little people photography, but have always been a little shy there as well. Those are just great opportunities. So, okay, well, that concludes it. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you then next week.